Subaru starting grid is rolling in at the top of your screen. We're going to show you some onboards, which will give us a really nice insight into this 2-mile street circuit. Very bumpy, very rugged, and we're going to see some pretty hot action here today. That'll come in very, very handy. It's time now to take a closer look at the Continental Tires keys to the race, Cal. What are they?
Well, patience is always a factor on a street circuit. You need a controlled aggression around this Belle Isle circuit. Traffic, it'll be your friend some laps, it'll be your enemy on others. And pit strategy, remember, this is a 2-hour event. Some of these guys are saying we can do it on one stop potentially. So if we get an early yellow, that'll be a big question for the guys who have good track position. Do you take it then or stay out? Let's
take a quick look at the weather. Dorsey mentioned this a little earlier in the show. That picture there looks quite nice, but the weather has been fluctuating here very quickly.
It has, and look at that wind right there. Just north of us, there's a pretty good thunderstorm that's brewed up over there. I don't know if it's going to make it by race time or not. We'll find out as this day goes forward.
You're a 2-time winner here, mate, on the longer circuit here on Belle Isle. What's the secret to success?
Well, I tell you, you got to use all the road here. You got to really optimize exits off these corners and getting these launches, not wheel spin. It's a very rough circuit, no doubt about it. And the traffic, my gosh, you have to be so careful picking where you're choosing, you know, to pass some of these classes, the cars that are in the lower class.
Cal, this is the first of 4 2-hour races we're going to have this season. It's the very first time we've had a 2-hour race without that 45-minute rule in effect. Are you intrigued by the strategical angle here today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think guys need a little bit of yellow to do it on one stop. But guys, think about the 90 car. They got Michael Valiente subbing for Garcia here this weekend. They have a huge advantage because to get championship points, you need to do 30 minutes. They're not worried about points for Valiente.
Yeah.
They can pit whenever. They could take advantage of that here today.
In track position, guys, is so important here. It's very easy to defend when you're leading here.
You'll see some different paint schemes on the Action Express Corvettes. That's to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Chevrolet Corvette. There's another one. That was the very first one that came out for Spirit of Daytona Racing. Driver swap, as Dorsey mentioned, in the 5 and the 9 right there. David Donahue, Darren Law, 108 Grand Am Rolex Series races together. They are together no more. We'll see if that mix-up, that change-up, is going to be a successful one. We separate the classes for safety reasons, give a little bit more racing room. We are ready to go racing.
And they're rubbing already in the front row.
Angelelli and Fogarty, they've had a little bit of history, but John gets a great start in the Red Dragon.
Look at them jostling around there. They try and get through there side by side. You can't do it. There's Rojas. He gets a little touch there.
GT start right behind them. Everybody through turn 1 as far as prototypes go. Can these guys make it?
Guy Cosmo determined to get a clean start and get away from this group. That half-a-second buffer in qualifying, he's going to try and use that in the race.
Now, there was a little rubbing going on in the prototype category. I'm looking for body damage. Don't see much, Cal.
Rojas jumped a spot that he's got around the Darren Law there in the number 9 machine. He's up to 5th.
Terry Borchella in car 5 right there ahead of Rojas. Good start. It was the team, Action Express's best combined qualifying effort of the year. So maybe that switch up Dorse is working.
Yeah, this is the only real straightaway. It's the back straight. As you can tell, you're winding through corners here. This corner is the best overtaking opportunity you have.
Well, look at this. The 8 car looking down to the inside. That's Enzo Podolicchio looking for a way by Michael Valiente.
Popov is in the mix there as well in the 2. So both of those Peter Barron Starworks Ford Rileys are in there, and Mike Shanks Ford Riley with John Pugh as we climb aboard the 8 with Enzo Podolicchio.
A very good look at what it's like to drive a street course. It's like being in a tunnel constantly. Your eye level is down below the height of those barriers, so you really can't see up and over.
See the kickback through the steering on the bumps through this circuit. It's quite amazing.
GT up front, Guy Cosmo in that Tequila Patron Extreme Speed Motorsports Ferrari 458, followed by John Edwards. Then we pick up a Porsche. So Ferrari, Camaro, Porsche, 1, 2, 3. Andrew Davis, keen to do well here on his debut performance at Belle Isle. Loves street circuits. He's done a couple in his career, Baltimore and Trois Rivières, but this one's altogether different.
Andrew Davis, the only driver in the series, both DP and GT, to have led a lap in every race this year, but he's feeling the pressure right now from Paul Edwards.
Yet, hats off to the entire field. They did complete lap 1 cleanly. That's hard to do here.
So we are up and running at Belle Isle. We're live here on Speed, and we hope you can stay with us through the early parts of this Saturday evening. Grand Am on Speed. This is going to be fun. For some of them, anyway. and a whole lot more. That is NASCAR Race Day, fueled by Sunoco, 10:30 tomorrow morning. How about the manufacturer standings? Corvette has won the last 3 races in a row, Cal, in DP, and that's why they boast a nice lead there.
Yeah, and they look pretty strong here today. Currently 1, 2, 3 with a BMW behind them.
In GT, it looks a little bit like this. It's closer, just 5 points door separate Ferrari and Porsche. I think GT this year is anybody's guess. However, there's a little bit of fear out there about the Ferraris, about how quick they are.
Well, that second Ferrari coming into this race and stealing pole really got everyone's attention for sure.
We encourage you at the top of the show to join us via Twitter, and NASCAR Sprint Cup driver AJ Allmendinger has. Good luck to my boys at Mike Shank Racing at Detroit. Miss you guys, I'll be watching. Of course, AJ was part of that successful team to win the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
He beat up on you on the golf course the other day too, didn't he?
Sorry, I couldn't hear. You broke up. You broke up then.
Look at this, Valiente right in the mix here. Looks like Darren Law is a little bit quicker than Memo Rojas, but track positions we talk about, Yossi, so critical here. You've raced here many times. It is really tough to pass.
It really is, and what you have to concentrate on is the launch of your car, getting it squared up in the corners and getting to the throttle earlier than your competition can and extending the straightaway down to the next corner.
No surprise to see these guys running 1-2, the 99 and the 10, but I tell you what, this is a great performance by Terry Borchella. He hasn't had a lot of seat time this year in this new car. He's got more this weekend. It's starting to show. This is a brilliant performance by Terry, running third and very competitive today.
Chevrolet Corvette 1, 2, and 3. It's John Fogarty, Max Angelelli, Terry Borchella. Then quite a healthy gap back to Memo Rojas in the Ganassi machine. Remember, 7 wins now. Ganassi has not been victorious in Grand Am. That they are equal on their record. It's not uncharted territory, but it's very unfamiliar for that team. We'll see if they can turn it round here today.
There we see, try to deal with traffic. There's a little crest there as you come through turn 2. Borchella trying to take advantage, looking down the inside of Angelelli.
Chris?
Well, in that opening lap, it sounded like there was a little bit of contact between Memo Rojas and Darren Law on the racetrack. I just checked in with Tim King, crew chief on that car. He said he hasn't heard anything from Memo, so he thinks everything is okay with that car. They're also looking at the telemetry, not seeing anything on there. So if you're seeing Memo fall back a little bit, they don't think there's any actual damage on the car.
Yeah, they made contact, and I don't think it did anything to either car. It ruffled them up, and I watched that after the lap, too. Now, something I'm looking at, guys, that's kind of strange around here is look at the radiator inlets of the top 3 cars. All 3 of them are showing leaves, like somebody's been off the road, but those are tree leaves, I believe, that are up in the grill area.
What other sort of leaves are there?
I don't know. I'm not going there. They're not supposed to be there.
Let's get down and hear from the man who is leading this championship. Here's Ryan Dial with Brian.
Ryan Dial, Enzo Padalicchio leading the championship, like you said, Lee, in the Daytona prototype class. And first of all, Ryan, I think it's very impressive what you and the StarWorks team have done, you and Enzo, leading this championship, a Pro-Am combination. Did you expect to be doing so at this point in the season?
No, I mean, we put a lot of work in last year, and we tried to build the team as best we could, and I don't think we're surprised to be here. I mean, I think we're surprised we've stayed at the top. You know, it's no secret that we definitely feel the Rileys are getting the kind of raw end of the deal here with the aero package. So it was Corvette 1 to 5th in practice this morning, and Riley 6 to 10th. So we need a little help if we're going to stay at the top, but we're trying.
I know Enzo's got his hands full out there. When you come to a racetrack like this, how hard is it to adapt to coming from a place like New Jersey to nothing but walls here?
The good thing about Enzo, he's done a lot of running on street courses with the Ferrari Challenge, so it's been a difficult weekend for all the Pro-Am drivers. Rained out most of yesterday's practice session, so really the first time the car ran in the dry was the 15-minute qualifying for those guys, so it's been difficult. I mean, this is the biggest gap the Pro-Am drivers have had off of the Pro drivers, so it's just one of those weekends. That was the cars we got dealt with Mother Nature, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure the 8 cars up front.
They've had a good run this year. They've never been lower than 2nd in the championship to date, Lee.
It's been a terrific effort and a little bit of a surprise, but it's great. We're going to run with it, and certainly it's showing the strength of what you can do with a Pro-Am combination. Look at what Guy Cosmo can do, and Steve Bertho has turned the 67 TRG Porsche into that tyre barrier.
So easy to do here. A spin on a road course is always a wreck. There's not enough room, and this is what happens. He's going to have to turn around. Right now, he's dead center of the racetrack, a very dangerous area to be sitting in.
Round goes John Pugh. Just a really tricky and precarious position. What happened to Steve Bertho? Here come 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall.
If Terry's involved in this, yeah, Terry tries to go back over on line a little bit and just clips Steve as he's trying to set up for that corner. That's turn 12, I believe. Turn 13, excuse me, setting up for 13, coming out of 12.
And it gives you an indication how exactly tight it is around here. That one car can be passing you and not quite have enough room and turn the car.
Chris?
Well, Kevin Buckler just saw that replay on his screen down here and was not happy about that. Kevin, what did Steve have to say on the radio?
He doesn't say much. He's pretty calm on the radios, but the damn DP just chopped the nose off. I don't know if he thinks where the back end of his car goes when he passes our car. He just chopped right down him and ran him into the wall. So Steve's got it back. We're checking the gauges, make sure the temperatures are right and everything, but we had a good car, and I hope we can get back out there and keep racing, but that's a bummer. I don't know what those guys are thinking.
Yeah, tough start to the Detroit Grand Prix for these guys. They're going to have a busy summer. They're hoping to have 4 cars at Indianapolis in July.
Yeah, they got Spencer Pumpelli, who's one of the best in these cars. Dorsey taking over, but he said the key is staying on that lead lap. To do that, Steve really need to run within about 2 seconds of the GT leaders. But Spencer had 15 races last year with TRG, 5 wins, 10 podium finishes, so you know he can get the job done when he gets behind the wheel.
You know, it's so hard to pass. We talked about it before. To make a pass attempt to outbreak one of these cars is pretty difficult. The best place at the end of this straightaway. If you try doing it anywhere else on the racetrack, you risk doing exactly what we just saw. The 2 cars making contact and somebody getting in trouble. We're hearing right now that the DP, the 5 car, will get a penalty. Terry Borsheller will have to do a stop and go for unavoidable contact.
Something so simple that has such severe consequences while running third, and Michael Valiente is now beating up on Memo Rojas, slips through and grabs that 4th position away.
Darren's already got by Memo to take the 4th spot, and now Michael Valiente slips into 5th, so Rojas is going backwards.
You really got to concentrate on getting to the throttle to get off the corner before the other guy, and you can out-drag race him. That's what we just saw.
As you can see, it's an extremely bumpy track, and Rojas was telling me earlier today they just have their hands full with trying to get this car compliant. That's what it's all about. It's going pretty good for this man, though. John Fogarty is some 4.5 seconds out in front as we bring you up to date with the series news and notes. And the big one is there will be a 3rd class next year in Grand Am. It's called GX. It's a class that is designed to embrace alternative technology and fuels, etc. We've got a lot more to tell you about that, particularly to part 2.
Yeah, Mazda had a great announcement last evening with the Skyactiv D clean diesel engine for this new class door. It looks like a really nice piece. And then the last note there was there 3 of the drivers in today's race have to really jump on a plane here in Detroit tonight, head over to Paris, and then down to Le Mans for the test day tomorrow, which of course we'll be showing live on Speed in a couple of weeks.
This is Darren Law coming in to serve his drive-through penalty for roughing up, if you will, Steve Berthoud. Unavoidable contact penalty.
So Borchella exits pit lane. This is the Scott Mayer, Colin Brown car. This is actually a 3rd Starworks entry for this weekend, Brian.
Hot shoot Colin Brown is getting in. You may remember him. He's been in the Rolex Sports Car Series before. In fact, the youngest winner in the series. And Colin Brown should take the 7 car out and do some magic with it. It's good to see this car here. We understand it may run as many as 3 races so far, or remaining in this season. Colin Brown right now getting the blower in. Peter Barron running 3 cars here at Detroit.
Nudges the tire on exit. That could draw a penalty, Cal.
Yeah, he just saw it slightly get deflected. And this is a real strategy move here by the Spirit of Daytona boys. We talked about Valiente not needing championship points. They're going to get him out, get Richard Westbrook in. So if they catch a yellow now, I think the key to this is they're doing it at a point in the race where they can stay on the lead lap. Chris?
Yeah, Calvin, that's the point with this stop here, staying on the lead lap. They're about 9 seconds off the leader. It's 24 seconds down pit lane, so they're going to have to make sure they keep this stop relatively short because it's about 1:20 around here. So if this stop goes more than 30 seconds or so, they might have a hard time, but it looks like about 23 seconds on that stop. They should be in good shape.
Richard Westbrook now behind the wheel, the man that delivered Spirit of Daytona its first victory in Daytona prototypes and the new Chevrolet Corvette Daytona prototype. Here's Westy, as he's known. A 2-time Porsche Super Cup champ now finds his home in Grand Am, and he's loving it. He'd never done much prototype racing before. He'd done a couple of the Rolex 24s, and that was it. Now he's a full-time DP driver. He is really enjoying it.
He really is. Had that brilliant win at Barber with Antonio Garcia, and I like this move. I mean, this is really a great move by these guys. They had a fast car. I thought they were going to be a bit buried in the pack, but they got it up into that third, fourth spot, so Valiente was flying himself. But right now, this is a great strategy call. If there's a yellow, they'll stack back up. They've got more fuel on board. They've got that driver change done. This could really pay dividends at the end of this race, Dawson.
Absolutely, because track position is everything. When we get to the end of this race and the last caution is over, whoever's out in front is going to have a distinct advantage.
Colin Brown down the inside of the Magnus Porsche into Calvin and Dorsey's point of stopping now, and if a caution comes out, you'll cycle to the front. Next time you got to stop, you don't have to put quite as much fuel in. We saw it at New Jersey Motorsports Park 3 weeks ago with Oz Negri and John Pugh and Mike Shank Racing.
Yeah, and that's the key with these 2-hour races. There's a lot of plays you can have there in terms of when you make that pit stop, and I really like it. I think that was a really good, brave call. And remember, they're coming from a little bit behind in this championship point standings. They need to get Westy up there into the big bonus points here today.
Speaking of GT, and we see there the Horton Autosport car, and they are actually displaying 3 names on the driver panel this week, and there is Atticus Hansen. There is quite the story behind this, and it's quite an upsetting one. Atticus Hansen was a 4-year-old who passed away on Sunday from a rare inoperable brain tumor, and he was friends of John Horton, who is the team owner. It's a terrible story, but they have established Angels for Atticus. This is a charity, and so they're driving for a very worthy cause. Our thoughts are with his family. Plenty of action on pit lane, and Brian is right there.
We talked about a Pro-Am combination leading in DP and the championship in GT. It's the same. Jeff Siegel, you and Emil Asentado leading the championship. But this weekend not going the way it did last weekend. The car just not seems to be underneath Emil quite so well.
Yeah, it's been a tough weekend so far. Obviously, we've had limited track time, and on a street circuit like here at Detroit, you know, there's just no substitute for laps. The rain didn't help us, but it's the same for everybody. Emil's picking up his pace each lap. You know, I think right now we have a big question mark. I don't know whether I should be excited or nervous. I don't know what to think, but you know, it's great to be here in Detroit. We've got the great support of the local dealer, Coley Ferrari, here, and we're happy to be here. Hopefully we'll get out of here with some good points.
And Ian Willis on the box. If Emil ends up going a lap down here early on, it's going to take some strategy to get you back up front.
It's going to take some strategy, and unfortunately in the shorter 2-hour format, it's a little bit harder to work some magic with that. But right now, Emil's finding pace every single lap, so I'm hoping that that's not a problem.
This team looking to make it 3 in a row, Lee.
Learning a street course is one thing, guys, but doing it in the rain is a whole different thing. Emil had his spin, and into the tire wall he went with the Ferrari, and his confidence level was shaken when that happened. The rest of that session was only about 10 minutes, 15 minutes longer. He didn't get any time, and he's paying for it right now.
Looking at the GT class here on the streets of Belle Isle. Speaking of GT, it's not that Ferrari, it's the other one, the Extreme Speed Machine. Guy Cosmo has a 10-second lead. He is flying. We're back here at Belle Isle. Lee Diffie along with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till and Chris Neville enjoying Grand Am's very first run on these celebrated streets. And this is John Fogarty. He won here way back in Barber Dodge when he was starting out what has turned out to be quite an illustrious career. He's now a 2-time Daytona Prototype champion along with Alex Gurney. And these are our respective class leaders. That's Guy Cosmo in that green and black Ferrari, and the 5 is in Darren Law. Good opening stint. He brought the car in third, Brian.
Terry Borcheller climbing out. It's David Donahue will be climbing in. The first time this pair has done a driver change. And I can tell you, Terry Borcheller was not at all happy on the radio about the drive-through penalty that he had a little bit earlier. You can see some rubs down the left side of this car. 108 starts. David Donahue and Darren Law had together. It all changed this weekend. Donahue out.
Terry was flying, though. I mean, he got the hammer down, Dorsey. Fastest race lap so far after he made that pit lane call for the penalty, and I like this call as well by the Action Express boys. They got a little bit further in the pack, but they've pitted Terry before they go a lap down and got David behind the wheel. This is all we're going to work out as long as we at least get a caution here today for these guys.
Just a few moments ago, we understand that Podolicchio had an interesting moment. Here it is. We're on board with him.
This is the rhythm part of the section of the racetrack.
That was with Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey, and he didn't. He tried to get up underneath Patrick, and Patrick had already committed to the corner. They bumped, and it spun.
Down into turn 12 where that incident happened. There we see him now clearing some other GT traffic. Emil Asentado stand behind the wheel, and the 0-1 is in, Chris.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very important pit stop. They're 18 seconds back from the lead, so they're going to have a hard time staying on the lead lap without a strong stop here. But the problem is they're having a issue with the rev limiter in the car. Across 3 big bumps around this racetrack, that rev limiter is kicking in. Memo Rojas was having to move the gear shifter back and forth to try and get that rev limiter to turn off. So with Scott Pruitt behind the wheel, we're going to see if he has that same issue as he gets back on the racetrack. It looks like he's going to stay out in front of the leaders.
That sounds like an electrical problem with the hitting the rev limiter without actually being up into the rev limit.
Scott got lucky there when he was running out to the car. He tripped, and lucky he didn't twist an ankle there. But Timmy Keene making the call. Let's get him in. Oh boy, timing is everything. What about that?
Well, that's our full course that we all expected to happen earlier than this, to be quite honest about you.
Getting pretty close to the 30-minute mark here, so this will be a call for the race officials to determine if the 30-minute mark will be sufficed in terms of championship points. Normally when we get this close, they'll say you're good for points, so you're allowed to pit and do that driver change. We'll have to wait and see.
We understand that it's the 46 Corvette, and it's Jeff Nowicki behind the wheel.
Oh, he's
Mike
up in the
Boffman
wall.
started this car, and that's where we're standing by. So after doing 108 races together, it rolls off the tongue pretty easily, Darren Law, David Donahue. So Dorsey's had one. I've had one, meaning that we've identified the wrong driver in the wrong car with the 5. It was Terry Borchello. So Cal, you've just got to complete and make it a nice threesome sometime during today's show. Here's Terry Borchello. It was a pretty impressive drive, Brian.
I tried to correct you nicely, Lee. I didn't mean to do it so aggressively, but Terry Borchello, this new driver pairing seems to really work on both cars, and the drive that you had in the opening stint was great. I typically don't hear you quite so vocal on the radio. You are not at all happy about this call.
No, it's always frustrating when the race is affected by an outside source, but Mark Ralphoff always does a great job. He works really hard. It's a difficult job that he has. But unfortunately, I don't think the GT car saw the second DP car, which was me, and I think it just spooked him. I didn't move over on him. I was doing exactly what I'd been doing when I got to him. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? Everything works out. We're sitting pretty right now because we didn't go a lap down, and we're able to play 2 different strategies because we have 2 cars, and I'm not in the points because I missed Birmingham. So we can do a lot of different things with the 5 car, which is pretty good for us, and I just hope we have a good finish with both cars today. We really need it.
Detroit, the home of Joe Louis. The black eye on Terry Borchello's face. That's not from the street fight. That's a racquetball accident, guys.
Sure. Glad you brought that up.
Well, it's really interesting. There's Joao Barbosa in the background getting ready as we crawl under this first full course caution. Elton Sawyer is the director of race operations there at Action Express Racing, and he just said it was time for a change. We just needed to spice things up a little bit to get the results that we feel this team can achieve. He said it's nothing different from, say, football or baseball. There's positional changes made, personnel changes made. They didn't change any personnel, they just moved them around.
Well, I think it's a good move because I think it need to be fired up a little bit. I mean, sometimes guys can get very comfortable as teammates. You become allies to one another rather than really fighting to find that extra little bit in the car. So we've seen it before with different big teams making these changes. It's been successful, and it's been immediate here. Both cars on the second row of the grid. That was a great qualifying run for that team here yesterday.
And in case you're wondering, what are they talking about moving people around? Just to reiterate the point, Darren Law and David Donahue are the longest standing partnership in Daytona Prototypes. They've done 108 races as teammates. They've been separated. So David Donahue stays in the 5. Terry Borchello comes from the 9 across to the 5, and Darren Law joins Joao Barbosa in the 9. Brian?
Well, Calvin's exactly right. I was talking to Darren Law earlier, and he said, you know, what it really kind of did, it made us realize that we had gotten comfortable, and maybe comfortable is not what you need to be in a race team. And so they're no longer comfortable. They're going for it, as is the 99 they're in, Chris.
Yeah, this team finished second back at Birmingham, but since then it's been a 13th at Daytona. It was 9th the last 2 races, so they desperately need to start winning races. I've been listening to John Fogerty on the radio. The problem is he's been silent since the drop of the green flag. Checked in with the team. They said he's been silent because the car is awesome. So the team not going to do anything on this stop other than fuel tires. Alex Gurney behind the wheel. Brian?
SunTrust is in. It's Ricky Taylor taking over from Max Angelelli. Angelelli got a lot of heat from several drivers at New Jersey talking about his rough driving. But this weekend, what a stop this weekend. They said, we've got to take a different approach. We need to finish this race. That's exactly what they're working on.
Wow, that was huge. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, the 99 car lost 2 positions there. First of all to the 10 and then to the 9. But remember, some of those other guys pitted earlier. Look for the 90 to be towards the front of this pack.
This man here is the championship leader. Ryan Dial, the Flying Scotsman, is now behind the wheel. Let's see what he can do. Just a moment ago, the GT field came in, and at one point in time that car there enjoyed a 10-second lead. Guy Cosmo was flying from pole position to just clear sailing out in front. However, that evaporated and put extra pressure on this ESM crew.
Remember, these guys are not used to running in a sports car series where the fueling and the tyre change is done at the same time. I'm not using that as an excuse, but it wasn't the quickest of wheel change. You see there a little bit of a struggle there on the right side. Meanwhile, the Stevenson boys are hard at work and well rehearsed, of course.
No doubt about it. And I look at that too when they came in with the 03 Ferrari. What are they going to be able to keep up with these guys that have been doing this all year long and practice this? And you'll see right now, as the 03 launches to leave, he's slow compared to the guys in front. We'll pull back here, and there you'll see, here comes the 5.7. He's got that position.
59 nearly gets him too. Watch this, the Brumos Porsche narrowly misses out, just couldn't quite get the launch.
Now, prior to that, the DPs come in. They always come in first. That's part of Grand Am regulations. Now, these guys in the past have had some troublesome pit stops. This one, however, was stellar.
This is what you have to do to win races around here anymore. It's so tight on the racetrack. On a street track, it's even tighter yet. So in the pit lane, it's got to be flawless. This is a flawless pit stop.
And why was it flawless? Check this out. Up pit road is the 99, the car that dominated the opening stanza of this race. The 10 beat the 99 out. Because the 01 pitted prior to that yellow, Scott Pruitt cycles to the top, but he's got Ricky Taylor down the inside. Taylor looks and then thinks twice.
He did. He had to jump on the binders there to make sure he didn't get into the back of Scott Pruitt. Remember, Ricky just took over from the Max Angelelli behind the wheel of the 10. Pruitt's got a couple of laps under his belt. Just good timing with that caution. Pruitt struggling to get up to speed here, trying to get those tires up to 10.
It's really easy to defend while you're leading, but you have to be good coming onto this straightaway, which is coming up in 2 corners. If you don't launch well, you are a sitting duck, and we're going to watch that right now. Oh, left rear. It's come off the 59. It's damaged.
Yeah, it's damaged.
Smacked the wall, perhaps coming onto the...
Did it come off or did he hit the wall? Looks maybe he hit the wall.
Yeah, I think he's hit the wall. There's certainly damage to that left rear corner. That's a rare mistake for that Brumos pairing.
So, Scott Pruitt, Ricky Taylor, a small margin back to Joao Barbosa. Taylor's growing impatient on this lap, on this first flying lap from the restart. Keep your eye on that orange SunTrust Corvette.
Well, remember, Rojas struggled for a while to get up to speed with this car in the early going, and Pruitt seems to be struggling too. Everyone's talked about the Riley not having the downforce of these Corvettes, and it certainly will show up on a high downforce circuit like this, Dorsey.
Look at Ricky Taylor, squares off the corner. That gives him a good drag racing launch. He'll take that position right down the front straightaway.
Good move from Ricky Taylor, forceful, and now he's got a nice, clear, clean track ahead.
You got to square these corners off. Sometimes it helps to put some rear brake in the car so you can pivot the car in the middle of the corner early and get to the throttle. Pull the trigger before the other guy.
Remember that 10 SunTrust Corvette, Cal, going for 3 consecutive victories.
Yeah, and you need that momentum, and they have it right now. And I tell you what, Pruitt could be Ricky Taylor's biggest friend right now, because I don't think the 01 will have the speed of the 10. And if Pruitt can keep these guys behind him from a few laps, that'll give Ricky Taylor a nice cushion.
Brian, you got an update on the 59?
Well, as soon as the stops were done and the car went out, an official came over. I checked with the team. They had missed a lug nut on the left rear. So I am assuming that that's what the problem was. The wheel has departed, it seems like, and they've got a long way to go to get the car down to their pit spot. And right now, it's raining on pit road, guys.
That's devastating right there, Calvin. He's lost a wheel nut. Of course, that wheel now has come askew, and it's going to do body damage, if not suspension as well.
Wow, that is a rare mistake by that Brumos crew. They're one of the best in the business on pit lane. But look at this stack up now behind Pruitt.
Yeah.
The man who set the pole position in Daytona Prototypes and dominated the early running of this race, John Fogarty. He's standing by with Brian.
Well, John Fogarty watching our broadcast right now. And John, we're getting some rain down here in pit lane. Are you telling Alex anything on the radio?
Well, I don't want to scare him. I mean, it's not sticking on the ground yet. I'm sure you can see it on the windshield, but this is definitely going to mix it up. 99 car is really fast. If it ends up being a wet race, we're okay with that. It's good in the wet as well. So just happy to have the Gainesville car up front. It wasn't the best pit stop for us, but having a fast car should help us get through the field.
You just watched Ricky Taylor push back past Scott Pruitt. Alex stuck back and forth. How hard does he need to run right now?
Yeah, that was frustrating to see. We're being held up right now, and we don't want to have a gap open up. But like I said, this weather could really change things. So Alex is going to be patient. There's still a lot of racing to go. So like I said, we have a fast car. I think if we're patient, we're going to get those positions back.
We got a car in the An advantage and it's getting slippery. You just push a little bit too hard. I'm not saying that's what's happened with Dion, but that is a surprise to me.
Meanwhile, the DP guys are still going hard at it, but not for much longer. That will bring out a full course caution because that Audi R8 is wedged in that tyre wall.
I've been there.
Oh, look at that move by Westy. Down the inside of David Donahue. He moves up to 5th. The reason he's back there in the pack. Here comes the other Action Express car.
And the caution has just come out, guys. Will freeze the field.
Perfect time there for Joao Barbosa to pounce on Scott Pruitt. So Pruitt's been pushed back to 3rd in just a number of laps. Gurney's there. Westbrook was forceful. This is good stuff.
Just to get back to the Westbrook situation, he would have rotated to the front of the pack. Remember, they made that pit stop, got Michael Valianti out, but the Spirit of Daytona team decided to take a splash of fuel when everyone else came down pit lane and put them further back in the pack.
We do have a replay for you of Dion von Moltke in the Audi crashing. Let's see what happens. It's just the final piece of
Oh, my.
Pretty good hit.
Yeah, that was a big hit, and it was a big slide. That was wet weather catching him out for sure.
Let's take you on board with Richard Westbrook. Watch how he pounces and executes this move.
Through 10 and 11, then bang down the inside. That was decisive. That's how you have to do it on a street circuit. Get alongside, then get it woke down.
Yeah, you don't want to go in there and be hee-hawing about it. You really got to slam the door, put it in there, and stick it.
So, an unfortunate occurrence there for the APR team. Their hopes of staying out in front are dashed. We're under our second full course caution. We knew they were going to come. Here they are. And we have a Chevrolet as our pace car. Doesn't look like Brian got out of second gear there. I hope he
I
actually
think they
found
did
out
that
what
on
he could
purpose.
do.
Notice something here, guys. It looked like they put Barbosa back behind Pruitt here, so they must have determined he made that pass after the full
After they decided to go. All right, speaking of Ganassi, let's go down there. Chris is standing by.
Well, we saw Memo Rojas fall back from the leaders in that opening stint, and now Scott Pruitt also having problems with the rev limiter. Memo, what's going on with the 01 car?
Well, unfortunately, we're having issues since yesterday with the rev limiter. The computer settings with the rev limiter that activates it. For some reason, under these bumpy conditions with this track, it's just engaging the rev limiter before you get to the limiter. So it's killing our exit speeds. We're just having to short shift maybe 300, even more RPM earlier just to avoid the engine from hitting the rev limiter, and that's obviously killing us down the straightaways and the lap time.
Well, not much they can do during the race. Tim Keane just telling Scott Pruitt, be really wide.
Right. Down at Action Express, Darren Law, wow. These opening laps pretty wild around this Belle Isle circuit.
They are. You know what? It's obviously a street circuit. It's super tight. There's not a lot of room, and you have to be so careful, but it's a lot of fun to drive. I mean, it's very bumpy, but it's a blast to drive.
Now, you and I were talking earlier about this new driver pairing. How difficult is it to learn each other's styles, get used to it? How difficult is it not to want to get in the 5 car when you show up at the racetrack? You've done it for so long.
I've already made that mistake over the radio saying, hey, I'm coming into the 5 pit. They're like, what? No, you're not. But it's not real difficult for us. We've all been together for several years, and Joao and I are good friends, as David and Terry and everybody is. So that part hasn't been hard. I think if it's a new guy that I never knew, yeah, that would be rough. But it's been a pretty easy switch, and I think it's good to shake things up.
Yeah, you had said earlier, it kind of lights a fire underneath you.
It does, you know. I mean, it gives us all new motivation, and now we have, I know it's a little difficult, but we have 2 cars each with a driver that can go for the championship. So that's, one of them should get there, I hope.
Well, right now it seems to be working out. Action Express strong here, Chris.
Yeah, Dion van Moltke brought the 51 back to pit lane, and we know Audi has always built a strong race car. It looks like once again they have a little bit of damage along the left side of the car, but Jim Norman now behind the wheel. Checked in with the team, and they said, Dion just said, hey guys, I lost it on my own. The front straightaway was a little bit slick going into turn 1, and he just got deep into the tires.
And that was a shame because he was leading class at that time. Quick programming reminder about NASCAR Race Hub presented by Ram, Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Speed. And guests Elliott Sadler and Larry Mack will join the hub to break down the action from tomorrow's race at Dover, and also take a look at Pocono coming up as well. That's NASCAR Race Hub, Monday night, 6 Eastern, right here on Speed. You can see the lights are out on the pace car. That's a good sign. We're ready to go racing.
They've rotated
Barbosa
back to second.
So maybe the team pushed back a little bit and said, we did execute that pass before the caution came out.
Maybe Pruitt had made that decision that had been passed under yellow and took it back.
In GT, Patrick Lindsay leads for the Horton Autosport team, but Cal, I notice on our timing and scoring monitor, he has not pitted yet.
He hasn't pitted yet, but if we get more rain, that might be a good strategy. Just come in when you need rain tires. But it looks like we've got a break in the weather now as we go back to green, Dorsey.
Yeah, typically we got one rain cloud over turn 1. The rest of the course looks pretty good, and we're back to green as you speak.
Let's go Westbrook in that blue Corvette for Spirit of Daytona. Looks at the inside, then pulled back into line. Wasn't quite there. What can Colin Brown do? He's nicely positioned in the mix there. He's trying to get back on the lead lap. Lucas Luer is in there. Oz Negri is behind the wheel of the Shank Ford Riley.
Oh, here's an attempt.
An attempt.
Yeah, not a good one either.
Still pretty greasy out the backside here as we come up to that back section over into turn 7.
There's Lucas Luer in that multicolored car there with predominantly white, number 2. Taking over from Alex Popov. We're riding here with Ryan Dial in the 8. Dial is currently 9th.
He made another return to pit lane just a couple of laps ago. Possibly just a strategy call, top him up with fuel. Now he's hard on it.
Just a little over an hour to go, so we're fast approaching the halfway mark in this one. Doesn't feel like we've quite got going yet. Normal race length in the Grand Am Rolex Series is 2 hours 45 minutes. This is one of 4 2-hour races.
These really do fly by too, Lee. You're not kidding. I mean, it doesn't take much and you're up to halfway through the race already. Take a look at this GT fracas. Is the whole field going at it.
Well, we got Taylor boys leading both classes now because that's Jordan Taylor out front in the GT class. He's got around that 73 Porsche. So his brother Ricky Leach DP and Jordan now leading GT.
And this is really promising for the Auto House team. That's the red and black Camaro out in front. They had a mechanical issue at the Rolex 24, and then they've just been caught on the wrong side of bad luck. Wrong time, wrong place. It just hasn't swung their way, which you need in racing. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and they really felt...
Look at that. That Salen's car, the 42 car, Wayne Nonamaker. What a save there over the crest coming through turn 3.
It's a tricky little area right there. You can see how easy it can get out from under you.
To finish the point on Auto House, they really feel that today, this weekend, can be their turning point in the championship. So far, so good. We'll monitor that.
Boy, Gearney, a report now that the 03 Ferrari is going to get a stop-and-go penalty for initiating a pass before the start-finish line. So that's going to be very costly for the Ferrari.
Yeah, and remember, they came into the pits in the lead. They're now running in the 10th spot, so they got buried, and they're going to get buried even further now because of that penalty. 57 down the inside, looking aggressive.
Guys, I checked in with Jordan Taylor a little bit earlier before he got in the car, and he echoed a lot of what Lee was saying. They just needed a little luck, but they feel like that Camaro, if any place they run, this is going to be where it's strong. The suspension is good over the bumps. They can use the curbs, and right now that Camaro running out front, Jordan Taylor has a lot on his plate as well. He'll be leaving tonight to go over to Paris, make the train down to Le Mans, and do a test day tomorrow in the Corvette there. So a lot on this young man's plate coming up in the next few weeks.
Well, he may have Camaro company because Robin Liddell is a man on a move. See him there popping out of the line. His next one on his list is Jonathan Bomarito in that number 70 Speed Source Mazda.
And guys, street circuits are just like driving drag races with brake zones. You forget about corner speed and you work on that launch. You drag race down to the next corner and you optimize the brake zone.
Robin has raced here on the streets of Belle Isle before, so he knows the place. He's confident. And that 57 Stevenson Camaro is hooked up. Now we've got some action going on. Both Taylor boys out front in DP and GT.
Like Lee in the rental cars.
There is a scramble going on here in GT land, and Robin Liddell has managed to work his way by Patrick Lindsay, while Wayne Nonamaker is lined up there in the 42. Billy Orblin and Andy Lally have been going at it. Jeff Siegel in that FXDD Ferrari, the points leader, he wants some of it as well.
Yeah, they were completely side by side, the 94 and the 69, just half a lap ago, because Lally balked Orblin a little bit, and Siegel had a big run of steam on him, Dorsey.
Yeah, and then, of course, Bill had to kind of weave and position himself. And I'm sure Jeff didn't like it. Here we go, up the inside, he tries again.
This could get ugly here. This could get ugly between these two. They're two feisty competitors, and I think the key is for Jeff, he has to think of that big picture. This is all about damage control. Talking to Ian Willis, come to this street race, he said, we just need to come out of here with some points. We're leading the championship. Let's not throw it away.
Guys, during that last break, the 60 car from Mike Shank Racing came in. Osnegri behind the wheel. They have done their last stop. They should be good to the green, they hope, or good to the checkered, I should say. Left side tires only. Lotus Sunoco fuel, left side Continental tires. Negri back on track.
There he is. There is Oz, one of the successful quartet of winning at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. GT looks like this. Jordan Taylor should thank Patrick Lindsay, because Patrick kind of got in a scrap with these guys here, and it enabled Jordan to disappear 4.8 seconds out in front over Jonathan Bomarito, then Robin Liddell, then these guys, Patrick Lindsay, Wayne Nonamaker, Billy Oberlin, Andy Lally, and Jeff Siegel. While we're in the break as well, Dorsey told you about it, the 03, the extreme speed Ferrari that we saw run up front for the early part of this race, came in, and Guy Cosmo did perform his stop and go.
Tell you what though, Jordan Taylor is flying despite the traffic stacked up behind him. He's done a 28.6. Everyone else is doing 29s and 30s here today.
And there you have a good look at Jordan Taylor, the 88. This is what you want. You want to break away from that fracas back there, because you see what's going on back there. They're racing each other so hard that they're really slowing themselves down. They're not able to use all the racetrack that's out there because they're so pushing with each other.
This is a huge month for Jordan Taylor. Remember, he's doing the 4 races in 30 days with the Grand Am Series, and he's running for Corvette at Le Mans. He heads over there tonight, as Brian Till mentioned, to do the test day tomorrow, and runs there in a couple of weeks. Big week, big month for that young man.
Said to him a little earlier, you'll be right, just get a little bit of sleep on the plane. He said, I'm not sure I will be able to sleep. I'm so excited about running at Le Mans. Yes, you're seeing this 5 Action Express Corvette just performed perhaps its last stop. I'm sure they hope, Brian.
They do, and all kinds of different strategies being played. We saw the 60 take left side tires only, no tires on the 5, Sunoco fuel only. David Donahue back on track.
Yeah, I like the left side call. I mean, there's plenty of tires on hand this weekend. They all got an extra set allocated to them for the Pro teams. They now get 6 sets and 7 sets for the Pro-Am DP runners this weekend. It just started with that new rule.
And a shorter race than usual, Calvin, like we were talking about earlier. Only a 2-hour event takes the miles off that set of tires.
This is going to end ugly here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's a few drivers growing impatient. They're looking, and the 43 is in the wall. That is Joe Nonamaker.
Full course caution off that one. That car's not going to be hurt, I don't think.
Pit lane would have been closed if it was full caution, so were they just ducked in just in time? Looking at fuel only. Tire change is not going to happen, Brian.
You called it, Cal. Nothing but fuel. The Sunoco fuel going in. Like we said, all different types of strategies. Shorter race. This track not very aggressive.
Oh, hit the wall.
Oh, my goodness.
Cold tires, pit lane.
No, he wasn't on cold tires, Dorsey. He never changed tires,
right.
Just too aggressive there, trying to get out of pit lane.
Okay, Ricky. Is the wheel still straight?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's broken. It's
Oh, my goodness.
Rear tire.
This is very uncharacteristic from Ricky Taylor.
Broke the rear suspension, guys, no doubt. It's the rear hub.
He was in that hurry-up mode. He wanted to get out there and blend.
We'll pull off at the end.
That's his father, Wayne Taylor. And you're listening to the voice of Simon Hodgson, team manager. These guys were going for 3 wins in a row, Cal. That's gone.
That is unbelievable. I mean, it was just, a routine stop. He had hot tires. It was just get out there. I'm sure he is trying to force the issue, get back out there and not drop any more positions with the train coming through turn 2. But very, very rare mistake. You'd have to put that one at the hands of Ricky.
It's broken the left rear toe link at least, if not the upright, but it's devastating loss now.
Brian Till is in the SunTrust camp. What did you witness, Brian?
Well, 10 minutes ago, it was elation as Taylor Boy's leading in both classes, and now it changes very quickly. Wayne, you were looking at it, just a mistake on Ricky's part.
Yeah, the Chevrolet car was doing so well. Ricky, Max were doing a great job. Yeah, I feel for him because, he's pretty hard on himself, and I'm more upset for him. But, we had such a good car. I don't know what he did. I really don't know.
Well, they had to fight back from that mechanical problem that they had at Daytona. They've climbed all the way back, only 4 points out of the championship lead. When they came to Detroit, they're going to get set back again this weekend, Lee.
And in a really strange twist, Brian, this has happened several times with this team. One with NASCAR Sprint Cup star Jeff Gordon, another one with Pedro Lamy at the Rolex 24. It's not the only time we've seen the SunTrust car in the pit wall on exit, and there is Wayne Taylor, team owner, just furious, distraught, upset, all of those emotions running through him right now.
I don't know whether he was looking down in the cockpit at something, Dorsey, but it just looked like he was basically, I mean, it's the pit lane, but you'd have to say he's like almost offline to make it through that pit exit. Was just very wide and just didn't stand a chance of making the corner.
You know, it almost looked like he looked up and saw the wall come and locked the brake up and hit the wall. It's like he was, like you say, maybe pulling on a belt or doing something that distracted him.
Chris?
Oh, big problems down here with the 99. Alex Gurney rolled through. He was going to stop here, and he rolled through. The team kind of threw up their hands like, Alex, what are you doing? The 01 a little bit further down. They're just taking fuel. No tires on the 01. But the 99, very strange here, guys. Alex didn't stop.
Wow. Yeah, that is a killer.
They are opening up the doors for Action Express and Spirit of Daytona and Mike Shank, Starworks.
They're handing this race.
Wow. Chevy boys are not doing a good job here in the Motor City. Two of their leading lights suddenly having drama here in the last couple of minutes.
All those guys should be penalized.
That was Alex Gurney wanting someone to be penalized.
Is he saying that maybe he was balked to get into his pit box, possibly?
So. Yeah, I'm thinking
Let's find out. Bob Stallings is standing by.
Well, guys, I think there's some confusion down here whether the pits were open or not. Everyone just followed Scott Pruitt in. Bob, were the pits open?
Pits were not open. The race control told us right before the cars came in, the pits are not open, so we sent Alex on his way.
So Alex Gurney did not get service on that stop. All the other Daytona prototypes did get service.
Wow, that's going to be, if that's what happened, Calvin, there's going to be massive penalties.
Just waves him through.
Yeah, I mean, if the pits isn't open.
I heard Gurney say the 01 needs to be penalized. I thought maybe he'd balked his way into his pit box. That's not the case, of course. As you can see, he had the opportunity, and the team said you cannot pit Alex. The pit lane is closed. And the only way you can come down and take any fuel is if you're out of fuel. It's an emergency situation, so you'd have to think that the race director will need to make a call on these teams that did do service.
Yep.
And finally, the wounded number 10 SunTrust Chevrolet Corvette Daytona prototype makes it back to pit lane. And again, we stress this is very uncharacteristic of Ricky Taylor.
A flawless race.
Give us a hand, all right?
I mean, the way he took the lead from Scott Pruitt and then took off.
Tell us more, Brian.
Well, guys, just down at Action Express where there's a lot of confusion because the 9 didn't come in, and what they're saying is the pace car did not pick up the leader, and then they opened the pits before the 9 was behind the pace car. It confused the 99 and the 9, so there's an argument going on with Gainesco, Action Express, and the officials right now. Chris?
Yeah, the 99, it looks like they're going to come in and service this time, but the Grand Am officials just told them that the pits were open, so lots of confusion down here. This team not happy at all. And now the 99 coming in, and also the GT cars coming in, so a lot of confusion down here because this should just be a GT stop.
Yeah, the rules state first time by is DP's only, second time by, GT's only, then third time by. Anyone can make the pit stop, so they could be in. The irony here is they may in fact get penalty.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So we've just got word from race control that they have said it is okay for the 99, etc., to pit with the GT cars. Look at the scramble off. Autohouse makes it out ahead of Speed Source and Stevenson. Good work there. BMW has beat the Porsche out. So Turner has beat Magnus out. Good work there from Will Turner's men for Billy Orblin. Boy, it's just a little bit busy here on the streets of Detroit and Belle Isle. Still under a full course caution for the third occasion in this race due to a collision with the tyre barrier by Joe Nonamaker in his Salins Mazda. And then there's been quite a bit of going on. There's been a little bit of confusion amongst drivers and teams and officials, and it's been a mad scramble on pit lane, but we're getting a little more orderly now, and David Donohue for Action Express is the new race leader overall. This is going to be interesting when we go back to racing on the other side of this break. Welcome you back to Belle Isle. This is round 5 of the 2012 Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Championship and the Continental Tire race recap at the moment as we still run under full course caution. Fingers crossed we'll be going back to racing shortly. David Donohue, Charles Espenlaub in the Dempsey Racing Mazda number 41, the respective class leaders. Now, while we're away, things are still running pretty hot and heavy here at the Bob Stallings Gainesco camp. They're asking for clarification and perhaps rectifying this situation. What went down They were told by an official that the pits were closed. That's why they waved their driver, Alex Gurney, through the pit box and say, don't stop. We did the right thing. The officials are saying, and race control saying, the pits were actually open. So there's a bit of confusion going on there and a bit of lobbying and a bit of arguing.
And the person who really got the rough end of the stick here, certainly the 99 car, but Joao Barbosa is now buried in 8th spot. He was the leader of this race. He should have been the first DP car to have the opportunity to pit. He was past the pit opening, the pit entrance to make that call when supposedly many of the teams were told pit is open. So a lot of confusion here, and I'm not sure you can really fix it at this point other than just get the race back under green and let the boys go at it.
And you will see Barbosa and Alex Gurney come from behind with some pretty determined driving. Chris?
Well, Charles Espinlaub looking in a good spot right now, leading GT, and the reason being they didn't come in pit lane on this last caution. They came in on the previous one when no other GT cars came in. They think they got enough fuel in it in that last stop, and with this caution, they think they're good to go. It's going to be real tight, but they think they're good to go and obviously have great track position.
There he is there, that blue and yellow, very bright Mazda RX-8. He's been out there for 10 laps longer on this load of fuel. So does he have enough? The Charlie car, Charles Espinlaub and Charlie Putnam. We will see. It's exciting for Dempsey Racing, one of 2 Dempsey Racing Mazda RX-8s. We're ready to go racing. Donahue at the front. This new driver combo of David Donahue, Terry Borchella. Set to go. And you hear the roar here on the streets of Belle Isle. Donahue at the front. Oz Negri. This is New Jersey all over again. Working their way through from the back.
This is great stuff. Look at Pruitt on the attack, trying to get by Oz Negri. Look at Westbrook down the inside.
Good job right there. Stuffs it in there. Westy's doing a great job on the street course.
Here comes the 99 with him. Gurney goes with him.
Second really decisive move from Richard Westbrook. We know that our viewers via Motors TV live in the UK will be loving this, cheering their boy on. Bit of scuffle at the back there. That's Barbosa coming through.
Barbosa around DL. This is not a slow car. He just attacked, and he is a man on a move. He is going to be fired up. He was the race leader. Suddenly he got shuffled back through no fault of his own.
Got frustrated race car drivers on a street circuit. It's not a good combination.
You've been there before, Dawson.
I have been there before. It's really hard. You need a corner guy right now that's trying to calm you down because I want to kill somebody.
This is our race leader, David Donahue, in that 60th anniversary paint scheme on that Corvette. Looks lovely, doesn't it? It's a change up from the traditional red, white, and blue of Action Express.
Look at Westbrook.
Inside, he's got him.
He's flying.
He's found the key around here.
Absolutely flying. He's got around Pruitt. He just got around Negri as well. Westbrook looking for his 2nd win on the year, going to the front.
And Barbosa through on the inside of Lucas Lua.
They're doing it exactly what you have to do. You have to be assertive. You've got to really slam the car in there when the guy doesn't expect it, and there's nothing you can be done about it.
These aren't pro guys passing AM guys, pro-am guys. These are top-level drivers going at it.
Westbrook is fired up. He is absolutely flying right now. He's now going to chase down David Donahue for the lead of this race.
2 guys together here that feel they'll rob. Barbosa on the inside of Alex Gurney.
Nice again, just set it up perfectly.
How quick and how fast do you like it? These moves are happening every couple of corners.
He is coming hard. He is really coming. Joao Barbosa, the Action Express team, leads, and their 2nd car is now up in the top 5.
This is Ryan Dial on Lucas Lua. Inside move here. The championship leader decides against it.
The Starworks boys will not be happy as they see themselves get shuffled to the back of this pack. They're talking about this Riley chassis that they run does not create the same downforce as the Corvette package, and struggling on these tight, twisty circuits. Barbosa now around Pruitt, takes another position away, slicing his way through this field like a knife through butter.
You know, we talk about controlled aggression, and I'm not sure this is controlled aggression. It's aggression, make no mistake about it, but it's so assertive, and that's what you have to do on a street circuit.
Boy, this is massive for Action Express. Shuffling the driver lineup. Remember, they won the Rolex 24 at Daytona. They won VIR last year, both of those with the number 9 car. This would be massive. They've got to hang in there for another 3/4 of an hour, though.
Got to feel that Pruitt's suffering from the same issue that Rojas talked to us about with that rev limiter, because he has fallen like a stone.
Mazda, Camaro, Mazda, 1, 2, 3, then another Camaro, then the Ferrari of Jeff Siegel. So obviously the AIM Autosport guys did some nice pit work to get him out and let him leapfrog those guys he was battling with Billy Orblin and Andy Lally.
They have played some brilliant strategy this year as they get used to this GT form of racing, having competed in DP for so long. That's the AIM Autosport team who lead the championship. and really drive that Ferrari that Jeff Siegel's behind the wheel of.
We know that many of our friends in Dover in the NASCAR land will be watching, and you get to see Grand Am up close and personal, and not only at Watkins Glen this year, but at the Indy Super Weekend. That's going to be fantastic, Cal, at the Brickyard 400 weekend.
Yeah, some of the guys were there last weekend doing some promotion, got great reaction from the fans and the crowd there, but in the middle of this pack is Jonathan Bomarito. He does not have many laps around this racetrack, Dorsey. Yesterday morning, he dropped hydraulic to motor, driving through a large puddle on pit lane. Very unusual situation.
Unbelievable. The water was so deep, it ingested down the intake and locked the motor and blew the cases apart on the block. Unbelievable. That's how much water was around here.
Team engineer Dave Haskell said, "I have never seen that in my life."
No.
It's amazing the things that happen in racing. Riding with Richard Westbrook on the right, looking at race leader David Donahue.
Boy, you're talking about coming up to Indy. You're going to see more cars than you've seen in Grand Am Field in a great long while when we go to Indy.
David's responding. His last lap was only a tenth slower than Richard Westbrook, so these two Corvettes are really flying. Barbosa's now up to third, having got around Negri.
And you see across the Chevrolet Corvette platform in Daytona prototypes across the various teams. However, there are several different chassis. These two cars that we're watching here are the Coyote chassis cars. Inside move here, Jordan Taylor on Charles Espenlaub. Didn't quite work.
Lucky he's in that Camaro because he had to use a lot of that curb there, and that has the suspension to deal with it, Dorsey. Very compliant over these bumps and curbs here at Detroit, but Jordan Taylor looking for the lead.
You bring up a good point, Calvin. The bumps and curbs here you don't use at this racetrack because it upsets the car too much. It sends you too far to the outside. Not enough room to be doing that here.
Hey, Chris, things are pretty frantic at the moment.
Yeah, and Dorsey, you were just talking about all the cars that we're going to see at Indy. We're also going to see Godstone Ranch coming back with another Ferrari later this year. Indy and also Watkins Glen with Texas Heart Institute on there. And a very good Ferrari team will be running that car. Brian?
Well, Calvin, just talking about David Donahue responding to radio traffic between Action Express and David just a few minutes ago. Go to fuel map 2. You're good to go to the end. So they're telling them to burn the fuel that's in it, get all the horsepower out of that Chevy power plant that they can.
Take a look at the back of this 57, guys.
It's not done being bad yet.
Rob Liddell is looking really racy, and he is really sneaked up quietly in the points. We talked about it in the open with Brian, how he's had a second place finish. He's now teamed up with John Edwards for the rest of this season. Remember, John was away for a couple of events with that skiing injury to his left knee. He's back. This is going to be a strong team looking for the championship, the 57 Stevenson Camaro.
Just got a message that the SunTrust team have been working extremely hard to repair that SunTrust Daytona prototype, and they are trying to get Ricky Taylor back out into this race. It's all about winning a championship. They're currently second in the points. This is going to hurt them today. What about that man there? Does he stand a chance of winning, or maybe his old co-driver does? David Donahue's out in front. Isn't that a beautiful sight? Downtown Detroit, the Renaissance Center. Very familiar sight on the Detroit skyline. Meanwhile, up front, as we welcome you back to Belle Isle, we're live here on Speed. It's David Donahue leading Richard Westbrook. And this is a great scrap up front. They've got about 3 seconds, incidentally, over the rest of the field. So this is really a one-on-one fight.
It was 3 seconds. Joao Barbosa just ran a 21.5, a 1 minute 21.5. That's about 7/10 up on the two leaders right now. He is cutting into their lead in a hurry. He is coming hard. Joao Barbosa in the number 9 car.
Tell us more about the 90, Chris.
Well, I tried to get a minute with Troy Fliss, the team owner, a minute ago, and he kind of waved me off and said, "It's too early. I don't want you guys to wreck our race." But talking with Troy earlier in the day, he said the setup that they had on this car just didn't work at all earlier in practice. So they went back to a simulation setup that Pratt and Miller gave them, and it was pretty much a mystery setup for the race. But Troy said this setup is working awesome. They think they can run down that Action Express car, and they think they're going to see victory lane again today like they had at Barber.
They're going to be an Action Express sandwich here in a moment because Barbosa's coming hard. But I tell you what, Valiente was really putting the power down well at the beginning of this race in this 90 machine, making moves, and Westbrook's done the same thing with it. That magic setup is working.
And it looks like he's setting up the exit of these corners. Richard Westbrook taking good runs. As you watch the ebb and flow of the cars when they make these passes on GT cars, it's going to make a big difference.
He had the momentum. Now he's kind of got into the groove of David Donahue. Not suggesting David's driving slowly, but when you charge up on people, you just attack, you get by. But now he's kind of settled in. I think it's allowing Barbosa to come at them both.
You may have noticed on the right-hand side of your screen, GT, we've got a new leader. There is Jordan Taylor ahead of Jonathan Bomarito. There's a gap back to Robin Liddell. He's been fighting it out with Charles Espenlaub, who was in the lead of the race when we went to that last break. Jeff Siegel's in the mix. Bill Orblin, Eric Curran is running strong. And
Espenlaub loses it. In a battle there with Jeff Siegel. Wow, what a save. Or maybe he's got lucky, Dorsey.
I'll take either one of those. He didn't get into the fence, and that's hard not to do here.
That's a tough corner. You come out underneath that bridge, and you're kind of trail braking there, and I think he just tried to carry it a little bit too deep, and the tail got away from him.
Got a lot of car control, we know that, but there's, I think, both that and luck involved in not hitting anything there.
Visit Florida.com. Mazda almost visited the wall, but that was a lucky escape for Charles Espenlaub. What happened, Dors?
Oh, she's on the outside there. I don't think they bumped. It was awfully close. They might have touched. I hear he spun again. That happens a lot in racing, too, if you lose your concentration. And we were replaying that first spin, and this is what happened. Oh. I have a tire going down or something.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, he got the lead. Rusty to the front.
And look, Barbosa's there. The two Action Express cars.
It was time to go. It was time to go. He could see Barbosa coming. Had to make the move and forced it.
Barbosa's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. We're talking about the third place car, but I don't think he'll be there long. The number 9 is coming.
Action Express team owner Bob Johnson. This is what he wanted, Cal. This is why they made the change with Elton Sawyer and Gary Nelson. They said, let's shake it up. Let's get the results we know we can deserve. And this is how Westy got that lead.
Little bump and run there. David's trying to set up the APR Audi, and I think there might have been a little touch there. Could have think, Dors, going through 12.
Could have bumped him right there. I mean, he was reading the traffic situation, and that's what I was watching him to do. You know, he sat there, he knew he was going to get held up. He tried to get on the throttle earlier, like I've been talking about, and I think he did get into the back of David.
David was doing the right thing. When you're in traffic like that, you want to space him so it doesn't really, create a situation where you can't get off the corner cleanly. David did that, but I think Richard may have given him a little touch, got him unsettled a little bit, and then allowed the 90 car to get on the power early.
It wasn't much. Oh, no! That's trouble. That's too aggressive, and now it's made.
I agree.
Oh, he hurt the car. Left rear's done.
I agree. He's damaged the left corner.
Yep. And the Action Express guys hit as well. Barbosa ran into the back of David Donahue.
That was a mistake. I got first glance anyway. Westy was really, really aggressive on that move.
Yeah, he went in way too deep with way too much power, and the GT car didn't see him, and the contact was made. That's the penalty you pay for the aggression. It always has been that
fine line, but
it's a fine line.
It'd be good to see another look at this, but it looked like the apex would really gone away from him, and he really just forced it in there.
And think about this, boys. Mid-Ohio is less than a week away.
These are superficial damages. I mean, they take you out of the race, but that's just a suspension damage, no chassis damage per se.
Championship damage is
but
what
championship damage is no doubt. And he'll limp it back to pits if he can. Wow. But that's the same damage that Taylor's car had earlier on.
This is looking very good for Oz Negri and for the Action Express boys. Here is Oz. Let's show you what happened to Richard Westbrook from inside the cockpit of that number 90 Spirit of Daytona Corvette.
This is through 10 and 11. Got a run on him.
Oh, just, yeah. He had no right to that corner, unfortunately.
You've got to read the language of the slower car, and there was no real language that I saw there, Dorsey, that indicated he was going to leave the door open.
No,
he was just basically cutting for the apex.
He was headed for the corner, you're right.
Did you see the last part of that shot there where the Action Express boys came together? David Donahue had to weave to avoid Westy, and Joao Barbosa was there. What a shame. There is Troy Fliss and the Spirit.
Is coming my way. It's set.
Well, 2 laps earlier, the team was cheering, now hanging their heads low, and Troy Fliss trying to figure out if they can get the car fixed as Richard Westbrook limps his way down pit lane here. So I don't think we're going to get a chance to talk to Troy as Richard's finally gotten back to pit lane. And Action Express actually came down and gave them some suspension parts to Action Express, trying to lend their hand and get them back in the race.
You saw that piece of rod that was handed over. That is the toe link for the rear suspension. That's what the piece is going to be broken. And here's the replay. He just dives for this apex.
He was committed. Yeah, he's committed when he realized that the 40 car was going to turn in.
Too late.
Too late. Just locked him up a little bit and game over.
And then, of course, like you said, the Action Express cars bounced off each other trying to get away from it.
That was reasonably harmless. They have a massive lead over the rest of the field. There is the man who runs the Spirit of Daytona operation, Troy Fliss.
Joe Foster behind the wheel of the 40 car, involved in that moment.
Brian, what do you have for us?
Guys, I checked in with Action Express to make sure that the damage wasn't too great on either the 5 or the 9. The team said, yeah, we got a little body damage, but the drivers aren't reporting anything with the handling of the car. So Action Express, those 2 Corvettes came out of it with a little bit of damage, but the car seemed to still be good and fast on the track.
I think they're going to like this paint job, boys.
Can you believe, with just 30 minutes to go, with this team shakeup, splitting the longest standing driver partnership, they may finish 1-2. Well, not there yet though. Half an hour to run. Except I have to spend too much time on a plane with Calvin, but other than that, it's good. We're back and we've got a new race leader, and it's tight. Wow, Joao Barbosa.
This is a replay that just happened on the takeover. Barbosa set that up. Actually, it was Donahue that got bopped.
Christ, Joao, he's going to wreck me.
You heard the response of David Donahue saying my teammate was willing to take me out to force it through there for the lead, but just got pinched a little bit there in the king. Joao had his head of steam and was going for it. These boys have been in attack mode here today.
Remember when we went back to racing after that last caution, Joao Barbosa was 8th. He went from 1st to 8th after that confusion and that mix-up, and he was driven by frustration. How about that? So, and the number 90 Spirit of Daytona car has been repaired and sent. Good work from the team to get Richard Westbrook back out on track.
Toe link in place. He's back on the racetrack, probably just as fast as he was before, but that is such a frustrating situation. He was attacking so well, but when you do that much aggression on a street course, sooner or later you have to pay.
He was 10 tenths all of the way, giving it maximum attack, and it just caught him out. He read into it that the 40 car didn't need to take that piece of the road. We heard that in a break when he was communicating with Troy Fliss during that pit stop to fix the wounded car, and he is very, very frustrated. He felt that that was his corner, but the 40 car certainly didn't know he was there.
No, he didn't.
This has been a wonderful turnaround in form for the 88. Look at Donahue trying to scoot through there on Jonathan Bomarito, who is 2nd in the GT class.
And that's exactly the same corner that Westy tried to force it into the inside of the 40, and it is tight. And it's a tight one to make happen.
It shows you on a street circuit the speed differential between a GT and a Daytona prototype at the center of an apex is not that much different. If not, sometimes the GT cars can be quicker right at that point in the racetrack. So it's very hard to make a pass around here with a GT car like that.
Oz Negri has been pushed back to 4th. Scott Pruitt has got the 01 up into the top 3, and that has only just happened.
That's an amazing statistic too, because that car's just not been good.
Look at this. Oz Negri forcing him through the inside. There's a 99 goes with him. A little bit of damage on the front end of the 99. You can see it there.
And it's the 03 car again that has caused all this melee, the beginning thereof, and it's because I think they don't run in this series all the time, guys.
These DPs are getting really aggressive out here with this GT traffic.
Woo. Oh, they've got to though, don't they? There's no room.
Tell us more about the Telmex car, Chris.
Well, this team obviously going to be happy if they can finish in the top 3 today, because they have got their hands full. They've got that problem with the rev limiter, which Scott Pruitt is still dealing with on the racetrack. He's also telling the team that the car is very tight in the slow speed stuff, and he can't get the power down in the high speed areas of the racetrack. But Tim Keen's telling him, hey, Scott, drive the wheels off that thing and be real defensive.
Yeah, he's running 3rd as big points here today as the guys who are in front of him in the championship. They're not having a great day, so not a bad day for these guys with a car that hasn't been quick all weekend long.
Just to update you on the SunTrust Corvette situation, while we were away, Ricky Taylor did get back out on track, however has returned to the garage area and is now out of this race.
too much damage. That was a really hard hit he made on that pit wall, no doubt about it. This shows you from on board how busy it is around this street circuit. I mean, that's the right word for it. You work yourself really hard here.
And the glare that you're seeing there coming through the windshield that Ryan Dial is having to deal with. So traffic, bumps, walls, glare, grime on the windshield, tires going away a little bit.
That's what he's complaining about.
And there's only 23 minutes to go as we ride with Jeff Siegel, who's nicely placed in GT. He's up to 4th in class. You got an idea there of the Daytona prototypes whipping on by. That was Lucas Luer. It's tough for these guys.
Look at this. There's one to the outside here. Clears through.
69 looking good in 4th spot. What are you hearing down on pit lane, Brian?
Well, the car's running well. The problem is they have a radio issue with it right now. It's not that big a deal because they're not going to need to make another stop or anything like that. But Jeff Siegel, like any driver, especially in a tight circuit like this, likes to know what's going on. The radio right now not working. He can't communicate. I also checked in with Turner Motorsports. Will Turner says Bill Auberlin's having a good run, but they're not watching the racetrack as much as they are their weather radar. There's a band of showers from the northwest heading this way. Could be here in 20 minutes. We got 23 more minutes of racing.
Yeah, we got that shower a little bit earlier, and there was a big band. We were looking at Dorsey's iPad. He's got really high tech on us these days, guys. So Dorsey got his iPad out, and he said there's some big stuff coming, and it could hit before the checkered flag here today.
It's going to be pretty close, and it's a big band this time, not like that shower we had last time.
Alex Gurney continues to weave his way through GT traffic, and he's got Ryan Dial chasing him down. Remember, this 8 car, Podolicchio and Dial are the points leaders in Daytona prototypes. The team closest to them has had a tough day. SunTrust will drop in the standings. It's looking really good, increasingly better for Mike Shank Racing's Oz Negri and John Pugh. There's going to be a real change in the points at the end of today.
And for these Riley teams, they're saying if we can get through this one and through Mid-Ohio, which is another downforce track next weekend, we then go to Road America, we go to Watkins Glen, and the lower downforce setup that we're having to run may be good there. So they're just trying to get some points here today and get to tracks that will suit them a little bit better.
You know, when we used to look at our championship season, you look at the racetracks that you run on, when you would come to a street course like this, knowing that you were going to get into a fight like this is the big shakeup. It always has been that way. You don't know how to judge one of these things. You have to be aggressive, but how aggressive can you be without paying that penalty?
This could be a magical day for Chevrolet with the Renaissance Center, GM's headquarters in the background across the Detroit River there.
They touched good right there.
We've got Chevrolets leading both classes here at the moment with Barbosa and Jordan Taylor.
99.
Could be a great day.
You know what that was? That was the toe clip out of the 99. Look at the front. There's a big hole in the nose of the 99 where the little strap goes on to tow the car if you need to be towed. Well, that one's going to need another part.
Jonathan Bomarito now sees Ryan Dial go by. Remember, Bomarito's about 3 seconds behind class leader Jordan Taylor. Tell us more about that Mazda, Chris.
Yeah, and a moment ago we saw that 70 car come through the kink onto the front straightaway and then under the start-finish line. And that's where Jonathan Bomarito is a little bit quicker than Jordan Taylor. Coming on the front straightaway, that right-hand high-speed kink. But just about everywhere else, he's saying that Camaro is better off the slow-speed stuff. So he doesn't think he can catch Jordan, and if he does, he said it's going to be impossible to get around him with that Camaro being so good off the slow speed stuff.
We saw Jonathan Bomarito last night when we saw the unveiling of that new Mazda power plant for next year, and he was really shaken up. He said, I have 0 laps. He said, I'm going to be learning this racetrack in the race tomorrow. I tell you what, he has done a brilliant job. He's done a very clean race, learning this racetrack and running some very fast laps.
And he's got about 7 seconds over Robin Liddell. Wow, they just may be celebrating at GM headquarters in 20 minutes' time. This could be a stellar day. And all the boys have had a pretty good run here. Calvin ran here in Indy Lights. Chris ran several years doing Trans Am. Brian was here at the Renaissance Center Circuit. And I think Brian actually even ran in the first kart race back here in '92 on Belle Isle. So our boys have done well. And as we said right at the top of the show, this place always throws up very, very interesting racing. We are running at a slower pace now under our 4th full course caution. There is significant debris on the track. There are car parts all over the place. So we're running at a slower pace with just 15 minutes to go. This is looking good for Auto House, Brian.
Well, it was looking good before the full course caution came back out, Paul. You guys didn't want to see that full course caution, I assume.
No, but I'm so happy right now for the team. I mean, these guys have worked their butts off all year to give us a car capable of running where we're at. We've had some yellows not go our way, literally the last 3 races, which took away some good results for us. So for Chevrolet and for Camaro, with Jordan running up front right now, a win's going to do this team a lot of good. I mean, there's been a lot of victories taken away from us this year, so this is going to be a good run for the next one.
They're going to try to get that checkered flag, but they're going to have to fight the weather as well as the traffic, Chris.
Well, we know there's been a lot of problems with the 01 today, the rev limiter. Scott didn't seem like he was happy with the balance of the car, but you just told Scott that he was the quickest car on the racetrack the last few laps. What's going on today, Tim?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's not really so much the balance of the car. The ringing's really upsetting us more than anything because he's having to short shift and then just go back and forth through the gears. We don't really have our handle on that right now, and there's nothing we can do during the race. We'll certainly look at it afterwards, but it's still Scott Pruitt in the car, and we're P3, and we got 15 minutes to go. Who knows what's going to happen? Everybody's getting pretty aggressive, it looks like, so it ought to be fun.
Yeah, I also see you've got the weather radar up right in front of you. You think that rain's going to get here before the checker flag?
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, if you just look out here to the west, I mean, it looks pretty dark gray. So, I mean, like I say, you never know what's going to happen. It should be fun.
I've been watching this, guys, watching where Jack Roush used to be located, Livonia, Michigan. It wasn't there 2 minutes ago. It's past there now, and it's only, I don't think it's more than 5 miles off of being here on top of us, and it's a big storm.
And I just got a tweet from Sean Giroux, who's obviously just across the river there down near the Renaissance Centre, and he said, we are getting sprinkles here at the GM building.
Here, and some of the teams talk about maybe jumping in for tyres, so I'm not sure about some fresh slicks, some Continental tyres. My apologies to Continental. I did call the tyres one of our previous tyre partners in my excitement earlier in the race. Continental tyres done a brilliant job here today.
I call avoidable contact unavoidable, so.
But that's
normal. It's been one of those days.
It's just the way it is around here.
Hey, a quick reminder, there's so much going on in the world of motorsport this weekend, and your one-stop shop, as always, you've got to join AA. Adam Alexander Speed Center is coming up next. So much going on, and there is a lot going on at Action Express. They've been one of our storyline teams because of the driver change-up, sprucing things up a little bit. I wonder what the boss man thinks.
Well, Gary Nelson down here on the box right now. Elton Sawyer is actually up on the spotter stand. Gary, maybe the biggest job you've got to do this weekend is try to keep your 2 drivers cool up at the front on this restart.
Well, these guys are really professionals. They're doing a great job, David and 5-car and Joel in the 9. I think our Corvettes are real strong. Let's see what happens.
1-2 finish for this team. What would it mean, especially with the shakeup that you guys just did?
Well, I don't want to talk about the finish till the finish comes, but we've been strong all year. We've been in the back and haven't been able to really show our strength, and we just kind of tweak things a little bit over the last couple weeks, and looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, Action Express showing some Chevy muscle right now here at Belle Isle, Lee.
Good. It's been a really good day for them. It's been the day that they needed. Likewise, down at their GT brethren, we just heard from at Auto House. So 2 teams that needed a shot in the arm are getting it. We're not there yet. 12 minutes to go. You also just saw the 99 car stop.
Yeah, fresh tyres, and we've seen that strategy pay off. Remember Scott Pruitt at Barber earlier this year just sliced through the field to get a podium finish, so they're rolling the dice here. It's a lot tougher to do that move on this street circuit in the tight confines of these walls to make a move back to the front with only 11 minutes on the board.
Chris?
Well, John Fogerty was behind the wheel earlier today, but John, we just saw your teammate come in. He's been stuck back in about 5th place. You think those new tires are going to be exactly what he needs to get by those cars in front of him?
They're certainly going to help. It probably would have been a better call to take him on earlier, but we're going to give him to Alex and see what he can do. The car's definitely fast, so we were kind of mired down there in 5th. Really unfortunate sequence of pit stops earlier, and a lot has not gone our way, so we're hoping this is good. It seemed to work for the 01 at Barber, so keep our fingers crossed.
Well, this team has had a real tough spring. They're doing everything they can to try and shake that bad luck.
I think what John Fogerty is talking about, when they got confused with that pit stop, when they did finally come in, they didn't put fresh tyres at that point, and I think John was pretty fired up in pit lane at that point about that decision.
One thing about it is he doesn't have to worry about messing up the front of the car.
That's taken care of. Check.
Going to get racy here any moment.
Yeah, it's going to be. This is what you always at Belle Isle. You always 10 minutes to go in a race, guys. Caution's out. It's going to go ballistic for 10 minutes. You take a deep breath. You pull those seatbelts down tight and let her loose.
And we've got 10 minutes to go. 10 and a half with possible rain.
Yeah.
And you know what the end of these Grand Am races are like. We've seen this many, many times. A lot on the line for a lot of different people. And that's getting uglier and uglier, isn't it?
It's going to get here. It's just when.
Yeah, it's
all
going
right,
to be close.
Ready to go here. Lights are out on the pace car. Clear track now. All the debris has been removed. João Barbosa, the American-based Portuguese driver, leads this field. Keep an eye on that 99, slicing down the inside.
Down into one. It was 3 wide. He made all past both those cars.
That was great. He got the pressures up. He's got some tire temp immediately, so he's going to go after these front runners here. How far can Alex Gurney go on these fresh Continental tires?
As Cal said earlier, remember, this is shades of Barber Motorsports Park, and Timmy Keane made us think of Barber when he said, hey, there's only 15 minutes to go and you got Scott Pruitt in the car in your P3. Look at Ryan Dial, jumps the curbs. He's trying to make a move on Oswaldo Negri in that Mike Shank Ford Riley.
Launching off the curbs here normally doesn't do any good for you because you lose traction. You need all you can get on a street circuit. Watch the 99. He's coming.
He's coming. These guys should be defenseless because new tires here have to be worth at least a second, you would feel. And there he goes, down to the inside on Lucas Luhr. Takes that position away. That's the 6th spot.
Nice and clean there, and everything in front of him is sitting duck. I think he can make this work.
Ryan Dial is the next one on his list. 9 minutes to go. Weather moving in. It's all on the line here.
He's got to do it like Westbrook did earlier. He's got to slam that car in and get to the apex first. Block that road.
And remember, these guys have nothing to lose. They're in such a hole in the championship anyway. Just roll the dice and go for wins. They're going to go attack mode right now.
They're buried. They're down in 8th place in the championship. And here is GT. It's unchanged. Still Jordan Taylor, Jonathan Bomarito for Speed Source, and then Robin Liddell.
Right now we have a GM 1-2 in DP. Can Robin Liddell make it a 1-2 in the GT ranks as well? Taylor leads. Bomarito holds on to second. This is tight. That's that king where many guys have got caught out today. Look at this. Bomarito closes in on our leader.
Robin Liddell needs to get by that Salins Master to go with Bomarito to stand a chance. Barbosa leads this race overall and in Daytona prototypes. His Action Express teammate David Donahue is second. Pruitt is third. Negri, Dial, and Gurney. How high can that 99 Red Dragon climb?
Tell you what, I'm so impressed with Jeff Siegel. Here comes that 99.
He'll get that. He'll get
Next
that.
Starworks car on his list.
Down the end here is a real tight right. Only one room for one. 99 takes that position.
Done.
He's got the grip there on that side of the track. That's a tricky move if the tires are worn, but he's got fresh ones underneath him.
Nothing to lose here. Championship, nothing. Oh, trouble up front here. There's this car going the wrong direction on the racetrack.
That was the 41, I think. That was the machine of Charles Espenlau.
Big trouble, left front corner knocked off. He's in a safe zone, guys. That won't bring out a caution flag more than likely. He'll stay there.
One-time class leader. And the teammates are going at it. You heard that radio transmission earlier where David Donahue voiced his displeasure of the aggressive move by João Barbosa. So David, he wants the win just as bad. They want to deliver Action Express an overdue victory.
David is not giving up. He is hanging on the tail of João Barbosa. His car actually looks a bit more balanced at this stage of the game, Dorsey.
Pruitt actually came on straight away and wagged the tail and bumped the wall out there. This is a good run for these guys. They need this. They don't need to take each other out, however.
7 minutes to go. That's all. 7 minutes, and you've got teammates going at it at the front, one-on-one.
Donahue is strong. He has a good car underneath him. It seems like he saved his tires a little bit more. Here comes Gurney. Negri next on his list. We know he's not easy to pass. He slips a little bit coming off the corner, Dorsey.
Absolutely. Oz Negri gets some understeer there. It's going to be a slow straightaway. He's going to take the inside. Gurney's got to muscle his way in there.
If you have to force it.
Cannot wait. Got to go.
5-time Sprint Cup champion Jimmy Johnson. JJ, if you're watching, cheer your boy on here. Of course, Jimmy did many races in this 99 Gainsco Red Dragon. He knows Alex and John very, very well and Bob Stallings. Cheer him on. This has been a spirited run, and well done for the team to call that strategy. There was a little bump there.
Gives him a tab. It cost him ground, though. He actually lost a little bit of ground. It actually forced Negri off the corner. Negri celebrated his birthday this week. He also did an Ironman triathlon. He's a busy boy, and he's a fighter. He digs deep. His fitness level is there. He's going to try and hang on to this position.
He's got a wounded tapper. That's the problem.
Yeah. And remember that Oz and John Pugh are in this championship fight as well. There's valuable points here for that 60 car after they came off a podium 3 weeks ago at New Jersey Motorsports Park. So Negri is not going to give this position up easily to Gurney. 5.5 minutes to go. That's it. to determine the winner for this very first visit to the streets of Belle Isle, Detroit for the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series.
Gurney's got a key on this next corner. This next one is critical. Coming off turn 7, just getting on the power and getting a good strong run. You see Negri there slipping a little bit.
Riding with the championship leader Ryan Dial. That's the view from the number 8 Starworks Ford.
The tire should give Gurney the launch, and that's what you need around here. Oz doing a masterful job, though, getting all he can out of his car.
And it just stalls you out. Once you lose that momentum when you're flying by these guys, suddenly you settle into their rhythm. And it's hard to really just pick up where you had that advantage from before.
It's really hard for me to believe we're going to go the rest of this 4 minutes and 58 seconds without a yellow, the way things are going. But it could happen.
That sky is growing darker and darker. Less than 5 minutes to go. Barbosa has less than a second margin over his Action Express teammate David Donohue at the front of this field. Pruitt is in a nice space. There he is, the blue car. Nice space, not pressing for that second spot, and he's got no pressure from behind. That there is a good day to yield third place points.
It will be a brilliant podium for their performance level this weekend. That will be great points for the 01 team, and they're just trying to claw their way back from that disaster at New Jersey.
Once again, that would be getting a third place position out of probably a 5th or 6th place car, so you've done more than your job.
Robin Liddell in that 57 Stevenson Camaro is 4th in the GT Championship points. This is going to be good. He wants to make it a GM 1-2 and wants to help elevate himself in this championship.
Well, it definitely helps Taylor, too, that the two of them are fighting so hard.
And this is a surprise, I think, for this little Mazda to be running in second here. No one really thought this would be a strong track for this car. Everyone thought the Porsche and the Camaro would be really good here.
Jonathan almost got in trouble back there for a minute, though. He really wagged the tail hard. Saw the rubber come off on the racetrack on the outside.
Trying to find a way through. Alex Gurney, he wants that 4th place from the 60 of Oz Negri. It's growing increasingly difficult, and he's got Dial all over him, and Lucas Lewis there as well.
He's got to force the issue now. He's got nothing to lose. Think about their championship position. They're way in the hole. You got to force it now, Alex. You got to make the move.
The same way Westbrook did. You're just going to have to dive for an apex and make it stick.
Less than 3.5 minutes to run here on the streets of Belle Isle. And that's what it looks like up front. Something happened to David Donohue. He was a lot closer than that not that long ago. A quarter of a lap ago, he was right with Joao.
He lost some traffic there. He lost in traffic. I think it was a 31 car. He was a second slower than Joao Barbosa on that last lap.
These guys are about to catch the 31 car, too. Let's see what happens with that. The Corvette, of course, we're talking about the 31, is right in front. You can use that as a pick sometimes, no doubt about it.
Negri's so savvy, though. He's just got to read this traffic situation, try and clear him as they come off a 7. Look at him. He'll try and back him up here a little bit and get up to that next corner before he has to deal with that Corvette.
Good point. He backed him up intentionally so he didn't catch him right here where he'd be slow.
Alex has got to run.
He does. He's got the position, I think, this time. It's going to be hard for Oz to defend this one. Here he comes.
He's going to pinch him. He's going to pinch him down.
Can Gurney get it done? Woo! No is the answer. Yes is the answer. No is the answer.
Great.
Yes.
Good stuff.
What he had to do, he banged off him, and now look.
That was awesome. That is what you got to do on one of these street courses in the dying moments. You got to force it without getting dirty.
And you
nice
can hit side to side like that. That's a good side slap. It doesn't hurt the car.
2 minutes left. And Joao Barbosa and Darren Law are very, very close to standing on the top step of the podium. 1, 2, and 3. It's a little spread out now. Gurney with that move, and let's relive it.
Well, he got the run off a 7, and Oz Negri wasn't going to make it easy, but he got down to the inside and then just side to side, tapped him a little bit. That was a good aggressive move.
Both drivers did exactly what they got paid to do.
Exactly. That was great stuff. Can Negri defend that next position? He's now got Ryan Dial, the championship leader, behind him. How aggressive will he be? Oh, and he gets wide. He gets a bit sideways there. Nearly loses the car. Dial really forcing the issue there. Great save. Lost the back end of that Starworks machine on the entry to that corner, but gathered it back up before Lucas Lurk could get around him.
So easy to do here. It's such a rough racetrack. It's snatching at your arms all the time. Your arms are tired by now. Your fingers are sore on that steering wheel, and it's fighting you.
Less than a minute to go. These guys are working their way to the white flag and home for the first time at Belle Isle, Detroit for the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. For the new driving combination in the 9 Action Express Chevy Corvette, Darren Law and Joao Barbosa.
David's back with him. He's close. He's going to have a lap to try and do something with his teammate here, Joao Barbosa. We know he wasn't happy with that radio communication we heard about how forceful Joao was in taking that lead right at this part of the racetrack.
One more time to go. And guys, Scott Pruitt has no quit in him. He's still out there fighting in third place. But this is going to be for all the marbles here.
With their challenges, that's been a remarkable performance. There's the man we've been talking about. The Telmex Chip Ganassi BMW Riley. Good day, solid day. They had to dig hard.
And he's adapted. I think Scott has really adapted to making those gear shifts where you don't normally make them, so you make sure you're not hitting that rev limiter. He's now laying down some pretty fast lap times equal to the leaders.
I heard him do it right there, Calvin, as he came off of turn 2 and into turn 3 right there. He short shifted up a gear. He's figured out exactly where the problem of the shifting is. He's working around it.
No traffic up ahead. Clear sailing, it looks like, for Joao Barbosa just to hit his marks.
Jordan Taylor sees the white flag. Oh, this will be beautiful for him in 2 miles' time, and for Paul Edwards, and for the whole Auto House organization.
Well, things settled down in GT. They sure haven't up here for this team. 2 of them going at it with half a lap, Calvin. Not much time.
Remember, these are teammates. This is a 1-2 finish potentially for these boys. David will not want to throw it away even as much as he wants the win today.
In that 60th anniversary paint scheme.
Beautiful cars.
The Chevrolet Corvette. This has been a landmark performance. It's easier to keep things the same than to force change. Action Express changed. Action Express win in Detroit. 1-2 for Corvette. 1-2 for Action Express. What a day. And there's Jim Campbell from General Motors and Chevrolet. And he is here to witness it and to celebrate, and that was an excellent performance.
And speaking of Chevrolet, are they going to be happy or not? GT right now, if nothing goes wrong, it's going to be a Chevrolet Camaro.
Bomarito's holding on for that second spot in GT. A brilliant performance by him. Liddell put the pressure on, but superb run here for Jordan Taylor and the whole Auto House crew.
And not only Chevrolet victorious in both classes, but 2 new driving combinations winning together for the first time, because Paul Edwards and Jordan Taylor were a new combo in 2012.
It's not jinxing. He's not quite there yet. He's got 2 more corners to go.
The run home, and Auto House go to victory lane in the Motor City. What a day for Chevrolet.
That'll be a sweet ride on that plane to Paris tonight for Jordan Taylor, winning here in the Motor City. What a day.
They'll be waiting for him over there, I'll tell you that much, with the arms open.
Those guys have had to endure a lot of frustration this year. How about that? Chevrolet victorious in both classes in their town. As we welcome you back to Belle Isle, Detroit, quick reminder that Speed Center is coming up at the bottom of the hour. Speed Center at 7:30, bringing you up to date with everything in the world of motorsport. How about this? For the first time in the team's history, it's a 1-2 for Action Express Racing. An outstanding performance. And then the Ganassi boys ahead of the Gainsco guys, and then Mike Shank in the top 5. This is our Rolex move of the race. It's for the lead as well.
There we see David Donahue gets balked slightly by the 03 Ferrari, and Barbosa just shoves it down the inside. David wasn't happy about it. Here's another angle, Doss.
It's exactly what happens on a street circuit. You know, you use that pick to get done what you need to. It's good for some, not for all.
It's a win for Joao Barbosa and Darren Law, their first together, Brian, as they celebrate.
Oh, big celebrations down here. Joao giving Darren a hug and waving the checkered flag. And Joao, you talk about a street fight. Not only was it difficult with the traffic, you had to overcome a little bit of emotion. I know you got a little hot in the car there with that controversy on pit lane. The rain was coming. This one was special, I assume.
It was special. I don't know what kind of controversy you're talking about. Everything was normal. You know, we were first. We're starting the back just to make our life more difficult. But I cannot say enough. Winning at Detroit with the Corvette, it can't be better than this. Being part of the Action Express crew. I mean, I have no words.
All right, Darren, so you started the car. We talked about how difficult it was in traffic. Was it more difficult in the car or standing and watching that last half hour?
You know what? If I bit my nails, I'd have no nails left. I was going crazy, but Joao did a stellar job. I have to thank all the crew on Action Express, and also to win this in Detroit in front of Chevy's headquarters. This is unbelievable. Super happy.
Action Express comes away with not only the victory, but second place as well, Chris.
Well, while the 9 car is celebrating, the 5 car finishing second, you'd think they'd be celebrating too, but David Donahue, you're not that happy.
Well, I mean, we were giving a hard run at it, and, you know, going up into turn 1, it just Joao didn't give me much room. It was a little bit of a hairy move, I thought. But it was great for Action Express coming in 1-2. Really happy for the team. This is long overdue. I've been saying this team's ready to break out, and hopefully this is the time. And to do it in the 60th anniversary colors of Corvette at a Chevy-sponsored race here in Detroit, it's fantastic.
Well, it looks like he's going to have a couple words with his teammate, Joao Barbosa.
They're all very good friends, so they'll sort it out, and then they'll go and celebrate tonight. We're not done with yet here in Detroit. We'll talk GT and hear from our winners when we come back. Yeah, that weather is closing in. Let's have a look at GT for you. Here's the snapshot, and another new winner in season 2012. Edwards and Taylor, the first together. It's Paul's 15th win. It's Jordan's second, and the second for Auto House. Well done to those guys. Let's hear from our victors.
Yeah, the weather is here. It's starting to rain, but it's certainly not raining on your parade. Paul Edwards, you know what it means to win here in Detroit, how important that bow tie victory is here at Detroit.
Oh, yeah, it means everything. How cool is it to be driving a Chevrolet Camaro right in Detroit, in the hometown of Chevrolet and General Motors? Can actually see the world headquarters right from the racetrack. So really big day for us, really big day for the team. The momentum is there for Mid-Ohio. It's an awesome win.
And Jordan, what a great drive to the checkered flag. I mean, looking at these weeks ahead, yeah, you can't start off any better than this.
Yeah, exactly. The month of June will be packed for me, but it's great to start off with a win for Camaro and Auto House Motorsports. The guys have been doing a great job all year. It's just been little things that have been biting us, and it's just great to finally get that win.
Bow ties on the top step in both GT and Daytona Prototype from here at Belle Isle.
Really super performance from those guys and a very deserving win. Dorse, we know how crazy street races are. Did it deliver what you thought it would?
Exactly what I thought it would. That was a war, street fight. That's why they call it like that.
Cal?
Well, it was just a great recovery drive by Joao Barbosa to get that penalty, really, where he had to come from the back to the front. That was awesome stuff. Just great execution.
It was Grand Am's first visit to the streets of Belle Isle, and it was one to remember. Hey, we don't have much of a break. We're in Mid-Ohio next week, and you can see it here live on Speed at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a Saturday race. Reminder, it's a Saturday race. Wow, what a day it was here in the Motor City. A lot to learn, a lot to remember, and for some, a lot to celebrate.